Welcome to the podcast of the College of Music and Dramatic Arts at Louisiana State University. Here's your host, Dean Laurence Kaptain.
We're very glad to be here this afternoon with Margo Drakos from Los Angeles. She has a very interesting career that's still evolving. Concert cellist to entrepreneur, human rights activist, and CEO of a very interesting media company called Instant Encore. Margo, welcome to LSU.
Thank you so much for having me here on this special day.
Well, it is a special day. You'll be speaking to our Convocation later on at 4:30 today, and we'll have our students and our faculty there. And there's so many messages that you can bring us. I don't know where to start, but maybe talk a little bit about Instant Encore. And those of you that may not have tuned into that, instantencore.com is a destination for people that want to know what's going on in the world of classical music.
It is, although not to immediately shoot down the dean, but I think we've often said that if we had to do it over again, we might not have our own website because it's evolved in such a way that Instant Encore is really at the 30,000 foot level, is a classical music or performing arts platform that allows fans to connect with the artists or arts organizations that they love, that they're passionate about. And more specifically, it's really a digital asset management system that allows artists or arts organizations of any size, of budget, small to very large, to be able to harness the power of technology and to connect with the fans. And it really allows them to take their event listings, music, video, podcasts, news, blogs, photos, have that content come in either automatically or with very little work, and immediately power their own websites, their own mobile applications, their own website in terms of, it powers their own websites, their own mobile applications, their own social networks, and so forth. So it allows them to have content come in one time and go everywhere with very little staff time and resources, which obviously every organization right now it's a significant challenge because you need to be having new constant content coming in, and who has time to go in and be updating all the plethora of platforms that you need to be maintaining.
Well, now I don't know if you're a very good business person or not, because you're breaking one of the rules that you should keep all the content and you should control everything. Now, what you just told me is you're empowering organizations and individuals to connect with this, but to have their own site, which could be seen as competing. What's with that?
Well, I think it's really important for organizations. I mean, first of all, things are shifting very dramatically. And as we were talking about earlier today, I think for a lot of organizations, this change feels like a loss, and they don't know how to. It can be a little scary to navigate. None of us really heard about Twitter nor worried about Twitter, a year and a half ago, and now everything's, it's become a ubiquitous word and so forth, or tweeting has rather. And so I think one of the challenges is to make sure that you have a centralized location where your content lives and breathes, but that it leverages all the other platforms out there, like a YouTube channel, like a blog, like a podcast, like a social network channel, whether it's on Facebook or something else, like a Flickr account, and leverage those tools, but bring them into one centralized location so that it can still be organized and an easy area for people to find what they're looking for. And I think obviously mobile is incredibly important. And if you don't have a good version of your website, a mobile web app, depending on what you wish to call it, or an app that allows someone to easily come to find all your content in one organized location, I think that's a huge problem. I mean, if you have a Flash website that somebody goes to on their phone, on an iPhone or an iPad, and is not able to view it, obviously that's a huge problem. So I think there's a lot of shifts.
You've just touched on something that's near and dear to us in Baton Rouge, and that is talking about the mobility of the web. And I guess one thing that's really piqued my interest is how invested the game industry has been in with hardware and equipment. But now, we just recently, 2 firms are relocating to Baton Rouge that are doing gaming on mobile devices. So
wonderful.
That seems like, that's putting things more in the hands of people the way that they want it. And maybe where they want to go is more important than being bound to their room and just, being a gamer and staying up all night there,
Right.
where now they can go other places and do it. How do you see that with the classical music scene?
Well, I mean, I think you're seeing it. I mean, first of all, just globally speaking, to add on to that, I mean, you're seeing now mobile phones out shipping PCs. You have, it's projected over 2 billion people will have at least one smartphone by 2015. I mean, even in the developing or emerging market world, you have 74% of the developing world has at least one cellular phone. And so I think to your point exactly, people want to find what they want, when they want it, how they want it, and either through a tablet or through a mobile device. And they're accessing already news more through apps than through fixed internet, through web browsers at this point. And so I think it's very important for the classical music community or the performing arts community as a whole to be thinking about that switch, and how it's not just about investing in technologies that are, I think I should say, let me preface this by saying, I think back in the day, even just a couple years ago, people would make very significant investments in technology platforms like a website that were basically obsolete by the time they launched. And so I think what you're trying to help, or what I'm seeing a lot of, and what you're trying to help people understand, organizations and artists make smart investment decisions, to invest in platforms that are scaling with the technology, that are constantly adding tools to their platforms, if you will, so that because the rate of change is so rapid. And to that end, with the mobile component, the reason I bring that up is that it's constantly shifting. You're seeing we're starting to power a lot of live streaming on for mobile and iPad apps and tablet apps and things, and you're seeing that the average user is watching 25 minutes, which would have seemed impossible to think of 2 years ago. And so I think you're wanting to make sure that you're laying out a smart digital strategy that is a mini version. Use your website as a whole, as a centralized location, but that the mobile experience has to be quick, easy, find what you need, buy tickets, find further information, watch video, pulling everything together and making it vibrant and not sort of a static, kind of dead heavy site, if you will. You need a lot of content in there.
Well, this summer, one thing that interested me, our digital media guru, Joey Watson, was live streaming some jazz concerts we have, and it's a series called Hot Summer Nights. Those that are familiar with LSU know about that series. Again, 6 sellout performances, guest artists. So Joey had the visionary idea to stream it live, and it was really in the experimental stage. And what surprised us was when the faculty members who were performing announced to the audience, we're going to be streaming this tonight, people came up to me at intermission who were maybe in their 60s and 70s saying, where can I find it? Because I want to send a link to my daughter in Connecticut.
It's fabulous.
And then I was sitting there watching people with gray hair and their iPhones glimmer in the darkness. And the thing that was interesting was they couldn't really, there was like a 20-second delay, but they were still fascinated. To me, they felt a different kind of connection watching and listening to the music live, but seeing what other people were seeing without hearing it.
Yes,
absolutely. How do we explain that?
No, I think it's so exciting to hear what you're doing, and the fact that I will venture to say it wasn't an enormous expense to be able to do that. And so which has changed. The barrier to entry now is so much lower to use these amazing tools.
No, the tools aren't expensive, but the help is. I mean, our digital media
absolutely.
specialist,
Absolutely. But the actual tool, no, yes, thank you for that clarification. Absolutely. You touched on so many parts. I think that what for the performing arts community to recognize is that the technology tools, and something I keep saying, they're just the tools, right? It's the content you put into it that's meaningful. And people are really wanting an opportunity to participate. They want to be active participants in the experience. And for those individuals that I think we underestimate, or I underestimated, all age groups, that a lot of there's innovators at all ages, obviously, and to see that for that individual who was passionate or had a wonderful experience at the Summer Jazz Nights, to be able to share that with their community member or their family member or friend who's far away, they're becoming sort of your Uber ambassador, your Uber fan, if you will, and that then they're sharing that and feeling validated and empowered to be able to share that with the community is a wonderful feeling. And it's a way for them, for a distant audience, to also have an opportunity to experience what's going on locally in your backyard, which I think is such a moving and powerful story.
You know, I really felt that, and looking in the eyes of the people that were doing that, the power they felt being able to, you know, to have it going on, even though they weren't hearing it, but liking doing that. And again, seeing the flickering of lights, which at a jazz concert isn't seen as a distraction like it is sometimes at a classical music concert. But, you know, something interesting today, Margo, we had a little presentation earlier, I won't say where, but a local professional said about Twitter to me, and this was, I didn't ask for this response, he said, well, you know, he said, people are talking about Twitter, but I think I'm going to skip it and wait for the next thing because there's just too much out there. And, you know, and I think we're all faced with that. You know, how much time do we have? I feel as a dean, I can't be off of Twitter or Facebook. I have other deans that are on Facebook, including, I'll drop his name, the president of the Cleveland Institute of Music where you went, Joel Smirnoff. Violinist with the Juilliard String Quartet. Yeah, he and I, you know, we send messages back and forth there, but I find some faculty resistance to that still. There's a connotation that Facebook is not academic and that it's used for, I don't know, idle chatter or the informality, when actually it can be a teaching tool. We see folks all over the country, faculty, using that and engaging in it, but still there's a little barrier there.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I mean, I remember when, you know, there were people that thought getting an email account sounded like a silly waste of time, that it was going to be a fad that's going to pass. And obviously, to be sure, there are many things that come and go, and you can't invest your time in everything. But, you know, with 500 million people on Facebook and 60% of the United States on Facebook, and the fastest demographic growing on Facebook being the older, you know, sort of the more the grandma community, I think it's not naive, I won't say, but it's important that we are staying relevant and using the media tools of our time to communicate what is going on in the performing arts space with our audience. And I think it's very important that we need the mentors, the professors, to be helping guide the young individuals coming up to maintain their artistic integrity and make smart decisions, but use the media models, again, that are available to us to be able to recruit and engage with fans locally, globally, and all in between.
Great. Well, it's been a pleasure today being here with Margo Drakos.
Thank you for having me.
A couple of hours in front of our annual opening convocation. This is August 29th in 2011, and Margo is going to speak to our faculty and students today, and we're looking forward to continuing our relationship with you and your various organizations. And again, thanks so much for coming to LSU.
Oh, thank you so much for having me today.